sit back and relax while we give you advice and tips on business matters and matters of the heart for busy executives. And now, Katrina and Edward. Hello, hello, hello. This is Katrina Brittingham, your navigator on your road to success and the incomparable Dr. The Real Deal Love. So,
Hello.
this is the love topic. And so, we are going to let Dr. Love take the wheel. And of course, I'm just going to give my little comments.
All right. All right. All right. All right. Well, if I'm taking the wheel, let me know if I drive uh, appropriately and then bring you down to a safe landing.
All right.
Okay. Once again, I'm excited to be with you. It's always good to talk about love and, have the love topic. It's always great to just appreciate Miss Katrina for seeing the need to make sure the listenership and everyone that tunes in uh, gets a well balanced a well balanced approach to life, love, and happiness. That's so important. So I just each time we have a love topic, I just think it's just great that you have the insight, Miss Katrina, to just make that a part of your business. And that's one of the things that, and I probably said it before, but on LinkedIn, a lady asked me, have you ever considered TikTok or Meeting House or, one of those, other ones? Because LinkedIn is a business platform. And I couldn't help but smile and say, that's why I'm here. Because we've got to begin to take care of the business of love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the business of love, okay? Relationships, getting married, a man and woman coming together is the most serious business deal that you can ever sign on to,
Mm-hmm.
okay? It is the most serious, the most comprehensive, the most committed because you're sharing everything. Everything is coming together.
Every.
Everything is coming together. So, so when she said that, that really just kind of like really solidified with me that I really need to be on LinkedIn because we really need to talk about and settle some things when it comes down to the business of love.
Well, we
Okay.
are on LinkedIn.
Yes, 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 yes. We
Hi,
are on
LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
community.
Yes. Hello. Yes. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for being a part. You know what I'm saying? Because this is business. We're gonna take care of some business tonight, right?
Oh, yes.
Take care of business tonight. All right. So tonight, our topic is, and Miss Katrina, I'm going to give you the topic, and I'm going to say to you, our topic tonight is you can't fake the funk.
No,
You can't fake the funk. Can I say that?
you can.
you can't. You just can't fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy? Are you happy? Okay. Are you are you experiencing a sense of fulfillment?
Yes.
Okay. That is so important. And I thought tonight, just I know we talked about men the last time, and I kind of, want to talk a little bit about men because um, LinkedIn has been so exciting and enriching for me. A gentleman wrote me and said, Dr. Love, I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the reason why. He said, my mother was an abused woman.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and he said, my mother was so tough, she could take anything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, my mother could take anything. So I can only imagine what his mother went through.
Mm-hmm.
He said she was so tough she could take anything. He said, however, the children, we were abused as well,
Mm.
and we couldn't take it.
Wow.
We couldn't take it. And that's
Wow.
something. So when he shared that with me from on the LinkedIn side, I just said yes, because men does we don't just be jumping and saying stuff. You know what I'm saying? We
Mm-hmm.
don't just men don't just jump in and comment. Most of the time, there are some men, but for him to take the time to just say to me, I appreciate what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what you're doing because my mother suffered. And as a result of her suffering, we suffered as children,
Right.
you know? So that's the reason I said, uh, tonight, don't fake the funk.
And that's why it's important to talk about the business of love because, like you said, it affects everything, the children, your work life.
Hmm.
It affects every aspect because this is your home life. Your home life spills out into every aspect of your life.
Hmm.
And so you can have people, like you said, faking the funk. You in my time in corporate and in business, you could also always tell how people's home life is by how they are at work.
Hmm.
Some of the toughest, hardest nails, authoritative managers. Because there's a difference between being a manager and being an authoritative manager.
Okay.
Um, one that is um, basically throw their weight around at work. And most people who do that have no power at home.
Mm.
So if they get power at work, they tend to abuse that power,
Hmm.
personify that power. Like they want people to know I am the one in charge.
Hmm.
Whereas people who had a good home life, great marriage, yeah, they were still your bosses. They didn't have to say I'm your boss or
Hmm.
be, hard as nails. They knew how to push people to do their job.
Hmm.
But you could always tell that. And so when it came to this and talking about small businesses and entrepreneurship and things like that, I wanted to do this because it affects so much.
Hmm.
Um, and everything like that. I mean, even a lot of them took a lot of, more time off of work because they had so much stress going on at home, sometimes even abuse at home, and things like that. Like you could really, really tell that something was going on, even if the person was putting on a role at work.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to, you have to balance out all areas of your life to even be healthy in business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you were talking, the thought came to mind, nothing to prove,
Exactly.
nothing to prove.
Exactly.
When when it's right, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when it's authentic, when it's genuine,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You just know it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really where my work is at, is nothing to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, who's the manager? I'm the manager.
Right.
You got to run that by me. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
approve that.
Right.
That didn't cross my desk. Nothing to prove.
Right.
When you have the balance and you've interacted uh, with your spouse or or your male friend or your wife, what I'm saying, or your children, when you interact, it's something about children, whether you have them or whether or not invested in some. If you don't have no children of your own, I advise you to get involved and invest in someone else's children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
It's so developed. It's such a development because children have a way of really humbling you.
Yes.
You know, they have a way of really balancing you off because children will not be outdone.
Mm-hmm.
Them little minds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Those little minds and the way they think. So, if you don't have any, get around some children. I always want to be around young people. Okay. I
Me too.
always want to be around young people because, it's just something there. They add life to me and they'll do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, when talking about that, uh, the importance of not faking the funk. Okay. And I said, I'm going to ask you, can we say that? And you said, yes, we can. Um, And then I think we said it like this here: you can't fake the funk. And then if we develop that, uh, I think we would say it's best if you don't fake the funk because you can. Okay,
Yes, you can.
you can fake the funk. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason I wanted to kind of just work with that topic just a little bit. Because I said don't fake the funk because that's how we normally say it. Don't fake the funk. You can't fake the funk. It's best if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's best if you don't because what we're seeing and what we're experiencing in our society and in business and just so many lives not being enriched and fulfilled. It's people who are faking the funk and not understanding uh, what's available to us, what's available to you in
Mm-hmm.
in your love life. It's available. See, that's why
Mm-hmm.
that is why I'm doing what I'm doing because that's one of the things that is big that is really huge on women. And I was having a conversation today with someone. Most women, not all women, see themselves in a loving relationship. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Uh, I was writing my book, and my wife looked at a line, and I think we were talking about. I thought about how he would talk to me, how
Mm-hmm.
he would treat me, how he would handle me,
Mm-hmm.
what he would say to me, the way that he would say it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just that whole experience that goes on in her mind about how she experiences and fantasizes over this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then life begins to happen because life happens, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that thing just gets beat out of her, or she gets older and just I don't see how it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Is it too late? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It gets that way. And I don't know how I'm doing tonight, but it is so important to understand. And this is what I wanted to share after talking about a woman just, am I going to, is he there? Just all the things she goes through. One of my sisters, and that's another thing that I said I was going to start doing is I was going to start saying, what makes Dr. Love so special? What makes Dr. Love? Because, you know, I'm telling you, no one's teaching what I'm teaching.
They're not.
And no one is developing women the way I'm developing it. The
Mm-hmm.
the way the way I'm developing the woman, no one's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes Dr. Love special, and this is just something that I was writing down, as my thoughts. One of the things to start is my mother. You know what I'm saying? My mother just it's just something about a boy and his mother,
Mm-hmm.
a girl and her father. That's
Mm-hmm.
just that's just the op those it's just that's just the cross balance, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
look at my daughter, And I look at my daughter. Then my other daughter was talking about her and her two children. Uh, her first is the daughter. It's her daughter, and she, we love her, but it's just one of those things. And her second child is a son. Now, when it comes down to her son, you know what I'm saying? This little boy is a card. My grandson, he's a card. Okay, he was he was doing something. She was doing something, and my daughter was getting on him, and she was like, "Did you hear me? I told you to stop doing it. Stop doing it." He said, "Yes, Queen." He's 4.
There you
He
go.
said he said, "Yes, Queen." I mean, it blew her away. It blew her away. One, he responded positively, and he called her he gave her the ultimate title. Yes, Queen, I got you. My Queen, I got you. I heard you. You understand? The male child
That's
and
right.
his mother.
That's right.
Okay. So it's something about the male child and his mother. It's something about the female child and her father.
Mm-hmm.
So, what made Dr. Love so special? One, I was my mother's first. So, my mother and I, we just had that, we had that time together. Okay. Secondly, I went through this spell where I just wanted to cook. My mother and I would just be in the kitchen, just working and helping my mother. I was just, I would just start baking stuff with her, prepping stuff. I just remember going through nothing told me. My father wasn't a man in the kitchen. I'm the oldest, so all my brothers are under me. I just
Mm-hmm.
got to this point where I just, I want to be in the kitchen with my mom cooking and doing those things. I don't know why. Maybe God knew I was going to have 5 children, and and I needed to cook
You needed some
or learn
skills.
something. Needed some skills. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but I just remember. You know what I'm saying? I just remember coming home from church and in the kitchen with my mother, helping my mother. So the list: powerful mother,
Mm-hmm.
5 sisters. I have 5 sisters. I was raised with 5 sisters. 30 years in the salon with women, interacting with women.
Mm-hmm.
Over 40 years of marriage to the same
Yes.
woman,
Yes. The same
raising
woman.
the same woman, okay? Raising 3 daughters, 5 children, 3 daughters of my own.
Mm-hmm.
3 daughters of my own. Not only that, raising 2 of my granddaughters,
Mm.
okay? So when I give insight, when you look at listen to this, my godmother and my mother, they were sisters, they were team. My godmother said, listen, when you have a boy, I'm going to be his godmother. And she would that's what they tell me. She would rub my stomach and say, "That's my godson." You know what I'm saying? So those 2 women, my mother and my godmother, they were the two. Okay, my godmother, I could do no wrong.
Mm.
Okay, my godmother would say, she said, Eddie, they was always trying to put something on you. You could tell my godmother something bad about me. She said, hey, that don't even sound like my son.
That's right.
You understand? So listen to this here. My mother and my godmother. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
my 5 sisters, my daughters, and my granddaughters. How many
Mm-hmm.
generations of women is that?
I'm counting three,
Count that. My
four.
mother and my god. You
Mother.
got my
Yeah.
mother and
Yeah.
my godmother, my 5 sisters, my
Mm-hmm.
daughters, and my
Mm-hmm.
granddaughters. How
Mm-hmm.
many generations?
That's four.
That's 4 generations of women that I had an opportunity to be hands-on, intact, in tune, in touch with. 4 generations of women.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I brought that up because to this day, and this is something that I recalled from years ago. One of my sisters don't know to this day that she was the focus of a bet between two men.
Hmm.
To this day, she doesn't know it. And here's how it went. And I don't know why I don't know why I was able to hear it, but that's what you're getting when you get Dr. Love is, all the things that I kind of like gleamed in the air hustling that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the bet. One man to another man, they were co-workers working together.
Mm.
And one said to the other, he said, "Man, I know where some fine women are in West Philadelphia." That's where we live, in West Philadelphia.
Hmm.
He said, I know where there's some fine women in West Philadelphia. He said, "Man, shut up. You don't know no fine women in West Philadelphia." He said, "Yes, I do. I bet you don't. And you know how you get your pinky finger out and do the bet, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much the bet was, but there was a bet. I bet you don't know no fine women." So he brings them around, and one of them won the bet because he said, "Uh-huh, there she is. Look at her." To this day, my sister don't know that.
Well, she might because you just said it on the show.
Yeah, she tuned in. Yeah, she might heard it. Isn't that something?
She know now.
She know now. But now here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mr. Katrina. I got five of them. They don't know which one.
That's true. Let them
They don't
duke
know
it
which
out to
one.
find
See,
out which one.
I always protect the innocent. You know what I'm saying? I always protect the innocent. But can you imagine that? You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine that one man would see you and see your beauty, speak of your beauty to another man. He
Mm-hmm.
comes and sees your beauty, and now he's interested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now he's interested. And see, that's the thing. That's where the work begins because
Mm-hmm.
one of the things is he comes and he's interested. And it's important for women to really internalize and understand. I give these three. These are the three things that I always say about a woman. A woman has to, one, she has to understand her value. Two, a woman has to internalize her value. And three, she has to demonstrate her value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very important. Okay. Because where there's value and interest, you've got you've got a man as a captive audience.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's value and interest. And
Mm-hmm.
I and that's the reason I came up with that title for tonight's show is because men are not really good at faking the funk.
Mm, no, they're not.
Okay. Men are really not good at facing the funk. So when he comes around and he interacts with a woman or he's involved and he's around her, when the interest and the value begins to wane, it begins to lessen and reduce. He's just not good at facing the funk, faking the funk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So things just kind of like, mm, you, mm, mm. And that's huge. See, that's huge because one of the things that we teach, and it's important, is that all of us have to employ this concept in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
in every aspect of our lives. They said you have to be willing to unlearn some things.
Yes.
You have to be willing to unlearn some things. You got to be willing to learn some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
unlearn, and then relearn. See, those that all of us are confronted with that in our business lives,
Mm-hmm.
in our personal lives, in our relationships.
Mhm.
You've got to be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Mhm.
You see, that that's 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 huge.
Yeah.
Okay, that's huge because when it comes down to uh, the value and the interest of him, kind of like waning and not maintaining the level that it should hit, and then continue, man, you just start being like, wow. It's like,
Mhm.
wow. It's like,
Mhm.
wow. You know what I'm saying? She just doesn't she just doesn't get and experience all the goody, all of what's necessary in that relationship. And he's just he's not good at it. And when he gets to a certain point, when we say he's not good at faking it, he just stop he just stops cold. It's just like,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just it's just not there.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's and those are areas, and that's one of the things that women will really begin to understand if she relearns to find, what does he really value?
Exactly.
What does he value? Okay. What is his interest?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? See, that is so important because when it comes down to the children, you know, I thought this would be a good story to tell just when it comes down to value, because just in my experience with my wife and my children, I really value her. I really value my wife. I really value the children that she produced uh, for me. Okay,
Mhm.
and my middle daughter, taking them from home and then putting them in school into pre-K. Some of them did well, some of them didn't do well. You know what I'm saying? My oldest daughter, she didn't do well. Lord, I take her to school. Lord, she cry. She cry and perform and be like, oh Lord Jesus. My wife didn't want to take her because she didn't want to deal with all that crying. Okay.
Oh.
And my middle daughter, it was the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the ladies in the schoolyard, I'd be taking her to school. The ladies in the schoolyard would just be hurt. She'd be like, no, Father, no, no, no. You know what I mean? And I'm taking her to school. I said, it's going to be all right, Kelly. She's, no, 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 no. So she just cried, and it was her and my youngest daughter. They're on the bottom end. My two youngest are two girls,
Mhm.
and my youngest daughter was okay, but my middle daughter, she cried, she cried, she cried. And here's where the story takes a turn. One day I got to the school early to pick her up, and they didn't come out of the classroom yet because they would come out of the school, they would come down the steps, and then they would come down the schoolyard. And while I was there, I just said, I'll sit on the steps and wait for her. So it was a Catholic church, and the steps were high, so I was just sitting on the steps waiting. And they came out, and she saw me sitting on the steps. So when she saw me sitting on the steps, she said, "Is that where you be when I'm in?" She said, "When I'm in school, is that where you be sitting?"
Just sitting there
I
out
said,
the
"All
door.
day long." She said, "Oh, well, I don't have to be crying like that because that's where you be sitting and waiting for me." I said, "Yes, Kelly." She was like, "I don't have to cry no more." No, you don't. From that day forward, no more tears, no more crying. Okay. Now here's what happened. This I was home and I was talking to my wife and she was telling me something. And I said, "Well, honey," "I've got to go because I got to be on that step when Kelly comes out." Okay. So here I was. on that step. Kelly come out that classroom. She be leaning forward. She be they be holding hands, in the line. She be dragging her friend, looking and seeing, is he up there on that line? I'd be up on that step. I just got there 2 seconds before she get out there. I stand up there, wait, hey, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh
I,
my.
I I got back home and Linda said to me, my wife said to me, she said, you were getting out of. She said you were getting out of here. I said, Linda, I gotta go because when Kelly come out that classroom, I gotta be on that step. That did something in her mind. She said you were making sure you got out of here. I said I would get out of here. I'd run down the street because I had to be on that step when Kelly came out. I had to be on that step. I couldn't disappoint her. And that's when it comes down to a man. What does he value?
Mm-hmm.
See, I value I value that. I value my wife. I value my daughters. I value my children. So it was important to me to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is the line that I give to women. And you want to know when he values you and the interest is there. Here's
Mm-hmm.
the line. I don't want to disappoint her.
Exactly. And I have to stop you on that because we are
Okay.
getting ready for our commercial break. But before we go, I wanted to step back. You were saying so much good stuff, and I know I'm going back to the beginning. But when you were talking about the relationship of a father and a daughter and a mother and son, it has a positive and negative thing.
Hmm.
Because if the mother was good, a good example to the son, that's how he's going to treat women. If she was a negative example, that's how he's going to see and treat women. And it's the same for a woman. If their father was there, if their father was doing those things, then it's like, I ain't gonna have nobody treat me any old kind
Mm,
of way because my
mm,
daddy treated me like this.
mm, mm,
But if a man is not there and he's not consistent, if he doesn't show up, then when it comes to relationships, they're going to expect, oh, well, he doesn't have to show up
mm,
because my father didn't show up.
mhm,
And people can say, oh, it's not that like that. It is because even when in reviewing my life, there's certain things that I realized that I got from my father figures that shaped who I am. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have to deal with this.
mm,
I'm not going to deal with this
mm,
and everything like that. But then on the flip side, negative connotations in what I had in parenting, because in both and parents, no matter how good they are, they have some downsides.
mm,
You'll see what you accept is a little bit different until you start to get certain maturity and be like, wait a minute, that's kind of not, you
mhm.
know, that's kind of
Kind
not
of,
good. Even
kind of
even though the
not. Yeah,
statement that
kind of
that
not.
kind of
Yeah, I
wasn't.
like that line. Kind of not good.
Yeah, yeah, that wasn't actually a positive. So that is the importance of that. And you were describing all of this during the story, during the story that you were telling, even with your daughter. And so when you were saying it was like, oh, if he values you, he'll um do what he needs to do. But I was like, the first thing that I thought is he'll show up for you. So how many women have been in a thing where a man promised that he would be there, he didn't show up, or we had a thing for one of them where um I believe it was like your niece or something, and the dude showed up late,
Mm,
and you were like, how long would you wait? And I'm like, 5 minutes.
mm, mm, mm,
If
mm,
he's like, oh, I'm late, but I'm on my way, it's still 5 minutes.
mm,
If you calling me and you're already 5 minutes late, sorry,
mm,
I'm out
mm,
and everything. Because if you valued me, you would show up and you would show up on time.
mm,
And I noticed that even in my relationships, most of the time, if the dude was interested, he was there before the time. So I was just like, no, I'm not sitting at a restaurant and then it's like, oh, they 20 minutes late, but they calling me at 20 minutes. Oh, I'm on my way. Oh no. First of all, I'm not gonna be there 20 minutes.
mm,
I am not. And so I was just like, that's the thing, and that was something that was a value. Because I'm like, if you value me, you would be here.
Mm,
If you were running late, you running late before you're actually running late.
mm-hmm,
So you could have called, okay, look, I'm stuck in traffic, or traffic is a little bit thicker than I thought it would be. You know, I'm 20 minutes out, but I'm gonna be there 5 minutes late. People
mm-hmm,
know that they do it for business
mm-hmm,
because they value that job, they value that client. So it's the same thing
mm-hmm.
that they will value you. If they value you, they'll show up, and that's just for anything. So we are going to commercial, but I had to say that little summary first to get that
Okay.
little in. So we will see you back
We'll be
in 30
back.
seconds.
From one-on-one executive coaching to our business building concierge service, Venture Ready helps entrepreneurs, startup executives, and business owners build, scale, and run their businesses using techniques that support stability and long-term growth. Through the Career GPS radio show and High Tea with Me TV program, we promote smart business strategies for the real world. Then, in our one-on-one coaching programs, we help entrepreneurs go beyond the vision board to realize their big vision into a tangible business with a promising future. If you're waiting to feel legit, here's the thing: you have to legitimize yourself. It's time to stop treating your business like a hobby. Get real, it's your career. So let me ask you, are you venture ready?
And we are back. So we were
Hello
talking about
again.
showing up is the same thing for your business and career. You have to show up. Are you treating your business like a hobby? Well, guess what? If you're treating it like a hobby, guess what it is? A hobby.
Mm-hmm,
If it's a business, you have to show up like you're a business owner. Are
mm-hmm,
you venture ready? Are you ready to treat your business like a business and your career?
mm-hmm.
If you are and you need help, we're here to help you. And we're coming back to Dr. Love.
All right, all right. And I like that venture because I was thinking about it. Business. Business is a venture and it's adventurous.
Yes, it is.
Oh man, I love the adventure. There's nothing written in stone, but there's a synergy and an energy there that if you put out the right energy and the forces, uh, the universe collides and make things happen for you. It's like it
It
just
does.
comes together. You
Mm-hmm.
start drawing the people, the resources, the network, the team. It just comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in your love life and your relationship. I want you to know it just comes together.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were talking about that, when you talk about showing up, a woman does a man a disservice. One lady was telling me, she said, once we were talking, she said, I think I need to rethink and I don't know if it was a 2 drink philosophy or 3 drink, I'm not sure what it was, but it was like, how many drinks should I have before I leave because he's not going to show up? Okay. And that's the reason we really teach there's no such thing as an ordinary man.
Hmm.
I can't say that enough. There is no such thing as an ordinary man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Most of us men don't even know what we're capable of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, there's very little that is a man is interested in. Have you noticed when it comes down to college, just the ratio between men and women in college? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like most men, when it comes down to what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? You know, I mean, they say stuff, but it ain't like really, you know what I mean? It ain't really like, yeah, I want to go and be and do and have and come. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
really not that kind of stuff. It's like, what you want to do? I'm a chill. you know.
Yes.
So so what we're vying for and what we're saying to women is before we even talk about him showing up for you, you want to know within yourself, you want to know this within yourself. He needs to show up for himself.
Yes.
See, so I mean, y'all talking and you dating like, like one of my sisters, and I ain't saying no names. My mother used to say it like that: say no name, bear no blame. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he comes on and he said, "Listen, I made a bet." He don't even know. Is there some fine women in Philadelphia? Well, I came and I found one. Now, does she know? You may have found me, but before you really understand this, like this finding me, I ain't really lost. It's just that you had somebody with the GPS that got you to me.
Right.
But what I really need to know from you, and what I really need you to do, is to find out where are you at in the showing up for yourself in your life powerfully.
Yes.
See, women, I want you to begin to ask that question. Has he shown up in his life powerfully?
Right.
I'm not talking about half, I can't say the word, but half behind or halfway. Has he shown up in his life
Mm-hmm.
in a powerful way?
Right.
All right.
Because if he shows up in his life in a powerful way, he can show up in yours.
Honey, thank you. Honey, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If he shows up in his life, that's the reason we started this. Don't fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fake the funk. Because it doesn't take long, because he's not good at faking the funk. You know what I'm saying? And then he gets to a certain point, it's just like, yeah, 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 and I'm here, and I'm, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what do you want to do? I don't know. That's another way of saying nothing.
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing. See, it just goes downhill.
Mm-hmm.
You see? See, so that's the reason. It's the interest is, what are you interested in? I'm interested in you. I understand that right now, but long term, what else are you interested in?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? What are your interests?
it's,
What are
it's
you, what are you,
always
go
it's
ahead.
always a red flag for me. Because that's the first one of the first questions I ask on the first date or the first phone call.
Mm-hmm,
What number one is, what do you do?
mm-hmm,
And then it's like, okay, what drives you? Like what's your motivator?
ooh, yes.
What do you want to do? If you're doing something that you don't want to do, what do you want to do? What steps have you taken to get there?
Mm-hmm,
Because number one, if they don't have the answers to that, that shows me a whole lot about them.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because like Dr. Love said, and I never thought about it like that. But again, if you're not showing up for yourself powerfully, then you couldn't show up for me powerfully. And you need to show up powerfully for
oh, yeah, yeah.
me.
Honey, where's the power? I need some power. You know what I'm saying?
That, I mean, it just is what it is.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
And
and I never thought of it in those words. So you just gave me the words for it. You have
mm,
to show up powerfully. And a lot of times, like I have people, well, why are you asking me all of this? Because I need to know before I
mm,
even let you
Mm,
even have a passing glance in my life.
mm-hmm,
Like what is yeah. You have to have answers to these questions.
mm,
And I think sometimes it comes down to with us as women not necessarily knowing what the right questions to ask
mm-hmm,
on that first date or that first phone call.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I can tell by the end of that first phone call or the end of that first date whether there's going to be another one,
mm-hmm,
because honestly, I don't want to waste my time
mm-hmm,
and I don't want to waste theirs. So you have to have those questions that you ask on the first date and it will show up, because most men who do show up powerfully will have answers and they
mm,
won't mind answering those questions.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know what's so here's what's so good about this is at any given time, at any given time, if those two things are there, if the interest is there and
Mhm.
the value is there,
Mhm.
the showing up powerfully
Mhm.
in the lives of himself and you,
Mhm.
it has the potential to happen simultaneously.
Mhm.
You see, see, he don't have to be all there at the start.
Right.
Okay, he don't have to be all there at the start, but you have to understand. You have to understand what the dynamic is. You have to understand the dynamics
Mhm.
that are at stake. You have to understand the power play
Mhm.
that's on the table. You have
Right.
to understand, you have to understand what's at stake here if I do or if I don't. What's at stake here? Because remember, I mean, this this thing, uh, this thing is so powerful.
Right.
All right. Here's another thing I wanted to share. You know, and we don't talk a lot about this in love and relationships. One of my daughter's colleagues, and that's what we said, don't fake the funk. One of my daughter's colleagues worked at TSA, but he was in the law enforcement. So he was a police officer at TSA, police officer accepted, police officer in uh, for the police. Just, when you look at him, just doing well as you would see on the surface.
Mhm.
This man at 46 took a gun to his head
Oh
at
my.
46. At 46.
Wow.
My daughter was devastated 3 weeks ago. I
Wow.
mean, cool. It's like on the job. Hey, hey, I'm gonna make up a name because it's not a name. Hey, hey, Ron. How you doing, Ron? Hey, hey, how y'all bees? You know what I'm saying? And just cool guy. You know what I mean? Somewhat attractive. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This is so some attractive there. Here's the
Mhm.
other part. Had a nice little body, you know what I'm saying? Got he got a little swag,
Mhm.
I mean, he got some stuff going on. So you look at him like he got a little swag, got a little swag, got a little job, you know what I mean, in the police department, you know what I mean? And you'd be like, well, what went on
Yeah.
that he would take, a gun to himself? And here's what we don't talk about. Sometimes he does that to her and to himself.
Yeah. Yes.
See,
Yes.
am I right? That it
Yes.
gets like that.
Yes.
So that's where this is coming from in terms of you can't fake the funk, or should I fake the funk? You know what I'm saying? Should I fake the funk? Because so much is at stake here. So much is at stake here. You know what I mean? I mean, your happiness for the rest of your life is right here. It's right here. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about bliss. I'm talking about happiness. I'm talking about the tables turn. He's there. And I wrote this today because we all want that. We all want the ending to that story. I remembered
Mm-hmm.
reading it in first grade, and they lived happily.
Happily ever after.
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's where this is coming from. Don't fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to fake the funk? Okay. Because, you know, as I shared with you, one of my sisters was thought of as there's a fine available woman in West Philadelphia. She had no idea that someone was coming for her. And if she's busy faking the funk, she ain't ready.
Right.
She's not ready. I mean, he's coming. I mean, he not coming. He here. The back. I mean, they put money on it. The money's on the line. He's
Mm-hmm.
coming. He's here. And if she's faking the funk, it's like, wow. It's like, wow. So that's a term. I use that term a lot. Showing up powerfully
Mm-hmm.
in your life.
Yes.
You've got to show up powerfully in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Because that's where the interest is. You know. A lady called me. She said, Doc, um, she said, I can get a man, but how do you keep him? What's the key to keeping him? Here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
Are you showing up in your life powerfully?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, powerfully. What keeps a man? That's a whole nother class. That's a whole nother class. But that's something. What attracts a man?
Mm-hmm.
What keeps a man? She said, what's the secret? What's the secret in keeping a man? Okay.
Well, first, are you attracting a man worth keeping?
Ding, 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 ding. Is he worth keeping? Here we go back to that question. You can look at him. That's one thing that a woman has that a woman has developed. Okay. Women and men, and I want to make sure I'm clear on that because it's important for me as the real deal to make sure women understand it because women oftentimes have the conversation and think women are more intuitive than men or women are more perceptive than men. All of us have the same, all of us have the same six higher thinking faculties: the will, reason, intuition, perception, reasoning, will. We all have those same things. Perception. You don't have to say anything. I can perceive.
Mm-hmm.
I can intuitively understand what you're missing in your life,
Mm-hmm.
the deficit that you're operating at.
Mm-hmm.
Men are ingenious. All of us don't take the time to get in tune and develop those aspects of ourselves, but there are a lot of men who are in tune, who are tapped in and in tune, and they understand. They understand what I'm about to say to you. And the women said, Doc, I'd appreciate this. I said, never underestimate what a man notices about you.
Mm-hmm.
Never underestimate. Okay? Never underestimate. So that's the reason that's such a broad term that we want to really kind of like drive home to is if you're faking the funk, then you're not showing up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not showing up in your life, and we need you to show up.
And the thing about it is, fake is easy to identify. People don't realize, and people put on this show, but it's easy to recognize,
Mm,
especially with someone that's around you on a daily basis.
mm-hmm.
People might not let you know that they see what you're faking, but they see it.
Yes,
And
yes.
what I'll say, because we are at the top of the hour, I did
Whoa.
want to address this because it did come out. If you are not happy, if you have that need that you need to talk to somebody, go talk to a professional, talk to a friend, because at the end of the day, your life is valuable.
Valuable.
And when you leave here, you would be surprised the people who would be devastated that they can no longer see your face or hear your voice or hear your laugh or see your smile.
Mm,
Because a lot of times people go into that because they don't realize how valuable they are.
mm.
How valuable they are. That young man did not know how devastated your daughter would be
Mm,
to not see him at the job, to be able to say,
mm,
"Hey, how you doing?" You
mm,
know, just how valuable you are to the people that are around you.
mm-hmm.
You have a lot of people who may act like they wouldn't be hurt or devastated, and you can kind of clear that negativity out of your life. But you would be surprised. You are of value. Everyone here has a purpose. Because just that quick, somebody that had a purpose that reached somebody in life is no
Mm-hmm.
longer here.
No longer here.
So we want to make sure that we deal with that mental health statement, because you never know who's watching the show and where they are. And we talking about faking, but a lot of times people do it more often than you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter how much money you have, how little money you have,
Where you are.
how if you're the standard of beauty, if you're not the standard of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Because just when you were talking about that, I just this weekend I saw a post about a young lady. She was a business owner, entrepreneur, had built a serial entrepreneur at that, was motivating people, helping people get into shape and everything like that. Had a boyfriend or whatever. Beautiful young lady, beautiful, and same thing. She took her own life. And so many people were devastated. The people she reached out to and stuff. And I always think if only she had the courage to let somebody know that she was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
She went in with a smile on her face, like she was faking it.
That's right.
And it's not worth it to fake it. It's not worth it to fake it at the end of the day. Because when you go home and you close those doors, you're still dealing with whatever that thing is.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you looking in the mirror. And and
Mhm.
my last statement is, and Ms. Katrina, I know you're gonna close out. My last statement is, um, have I took have I missed or have I told you lately I love you?
Mhm.
Tell somebody that today. I want you to know you are loved. If I
Yes.
haven't told you that lately, if I missed it and didn't tell you today, I want you to know I love you. You are loved. Tell somebody that
Mhm.
today. You are loved.
Now my closing statement is going to be, if nobody told you today, I love you. I may not have met you, but I love you.
Mm,
And I do from the bottom of my heart. Is
mm,
actually the reason why I did the show,
mm,
because I know that there are people who need answers, people who feel like they are alone.
mm,
It's the reason for the love program altogether.
mm,
Is the reason for helping you get into business and to help you get to your purpose, because you do have people who will be close fist and not try to give you what you need. So just know Katrina loves you. She
Mm-hmm.
really, really does. And if you need help trying to find somebody who is qualified to speak to you, you can give me a call. Call that 800 number. I might be able to help you for a little bit because I have done counseling as being a licensed minister. But if want somebody that's what they went to school for as counseling, please reach out. Please reach out.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the help is here for.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to help each other. Nobody is an island. You are not by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, we are going to close out because we are over the hour and the engineer is going to be pulling my coattails soon. But we will see you next week.
Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with me. To be a sponsor or a guest, contact us at info@ventureready.net. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.